Romance of the Three Kingdoms, Chapter 98.
Zhu Jilang's, that's Kongming's second northern expedition.
Yeah, and this one, it's more than just a battle report. It's this incredible duel, really, between two massive strategic intellects.
Absolutely. And our mission today, for you listening, is to unpack how Kongming, facing this critical, almost terminal shortage of supplies.
Which was everything.
Right. How he manages to execute these brilliant deceptions and turn what should have been a desperate retreat into, well, a pretty devastating strategic win against the Wei forces.
If you boil this whole campaign down, it really hinges on one thing.
Right.
Logistics.
Oh.
Food, basically.
From the jump, it's all about the supply lines over those mountains.
Exactly. And the Wei commander, Sima Yi, he'd already made his first big move before Kongming even got close. He anticipated the attack route, Chencang, and he'd secured that pass with Hao Zhao and, crucially, Wang Shuang. His first assessment, though, it was just cold, hard math.
Tell us about that math. What was his calculation there?
Well, he looked at the terrain, right, specifically those awful transport routes, the Kunling Mountains, and he figured out the Shu army's endurance.
How long they could last.
Precisely. Because moving supplies was so difficult, Sima Yi basically calculated Kongming had less than a month of food left, maybe less.
Wow, 1 month.
That single deadline. It dictated the entire Wei strategy from that point on.
That changes everything, doesn't it? So Sima Yi's advice to the emperor, Emperor Rui, was, well, it sounds simple, but kind of brutal. Just wait.
Potentially, yeah. The waiting game.
Yeah.
His core advice was to order Cao Zhen, the field marshal, to just defend stubbornly. The term they used was Aizia.
Jianshou. Okay.
Right. Sima Yi argued, pretty confidently actually, that if they just refused battle, just held their ground, the Shu army would have to retreat on its own in under a month.
So time and geography were Wei's best weapons here.
You could definitely say that, yes.
Okay, let's dig into the politics here for a second, because Sima Yi, he's not just about battlefield tactics, is he? He advises the emperor on this patient strategy.
Which was spot on militarily.
Right. But then he insists the credit goes to Cao Zhen, the field marshal. Not him. Why do that? Why give away the credit for a potentially war-winning idea?
Ah, that's key to understanding Sima Yi's whole career, really. He was always under a degree of suspicion. You know, he needed political cover.
Okay.
So by giving the credit to Cao Zhen, who was powerful, part of the imperial family, though maybe a bit rash, sometimes he does a few things at once.
Like what?
Well, first, he dodges any immediate jealousy or backlash from Cao Zhen and his supporters. Second, he makes it more likely the strategy actually gets implemented correctly because now Cao Zhen wants the credit for its success.
Ah, clever. So Cao Zhen will stick to the plan.
Exactly. And third, it reinforces Sima Yi's own image, his reputation for being cautious and not seeking personal glory, always thinking ahead.
That's several steps ahead, not just on the map, but in the court. And this caution, it carries through, right? He tells the emperor, be careful about who you send in pursuit later.
Absolutely. He warns the emperor, don't send anyone impulsive if Kongming does retreat. Any pursuit needs to carefully check the enemy's real situation first. Observe their emptiness and substance yirshu.
One kishi. So see if the retreat is real or another trap.
Precisely. He's basically saying, this is Kongming we're talking about. He's famous for feints and ambushes. Don't just chase blindly. Make sure they're actually weak before you commit.
Okay, so Sima Yi is preaching patience, caution, defense. But the Wei commanders on the ground, they weren't content with just waiting, were they?
No, defending wasn't quite enough for them. They knew Kongming was desperate, running out of time, running out of food. They wanted to use that desperation.
Which leads to this audacious counter-trap proposed by Sun Lei.
For one, Sun Li, who the sources paint as incredibly brave, apparently he once fought off a tiger that attacked the emperor, so definitely not afraid of risk.
Okay, a tiger fighter, got it.
Yeah, so he knows Kongming's deadline is looming, and he suggests using that hunger, that need for supplies, as bait.
And the bait is, well, it's pretty shocking. They spread this rumor, a false report.
Exactly, they put the word out. Thousands of carts, a massive grain convoy just arrived in Lanshidi, nearby. Food for the taking, basically.
But it wasn't food.
Not even close. That's the horrifying part of the trap, those carts. Packed with dry firewood, straw, and soaked in sulfur and saltpeter. Highly flammable stuff.
Oh, wow. So if the Shu soldiers tried to raid it?
Instant inferno.
Yeah.
A massive fire trap designed to lure the starving Shu troops into oblivion. It was, strategically ruthless.
Immense audacity, yeah. Okay, so now let's shift perspective. Over to Kongming. He gets this news. He knows he probably got days, maybe a week left before he has to pull back. What's his reaction when he hears about this supposed grain shipment?
It's immediate, instantaneous, really. The sources suggest it was a real aha moment purely based on strategic logic.
He didn't buy it for a second.
Not for a second. He apparently laughed, said something like, "The way generals know I'm short on supplies, why on earth would they advertise a huge grain shipment so openly?" He smelled a rat right away.
Okay.
He suspected the cargo instantly. And then the kicker. He supposedly said, "I've specialized in fire attacks my whole life. Do they really think this trick will fool me?"
Huh.
Yeah.
That's supreme confidence. Okay, so he sees the trap, but he doesn't just avoid it. He decides to turn it back on them.
Exactly. He decides to play along, but use their own fire trap against them. And not just against Sunlight, but against Cao Zhen's main force, too. It becomes this multi-layered counter-ambush. It gets really complex here.
Okay, walk us through it, layer by layer.
Right. So phase 1 targets Sunlight and the fake supply train directly. He says Ma Dai with 3,000 troops. Their job, set fire to the Wei camp with the carts. But there's a very specific instruction.
Which is?
Wait for the wind, specifically the southwest wind predicted for that night, and start the fire upwind of the Wei troops guarding the carts.
Ah, using the weather. That's classic Kongming, isn't it? But risky.
Huge risk. But if it pays off, the wind carries the fire, the smoke, the chaos, right into the main body of Sunlai's unsuspecting forces. Then, Ma Zhang and Zhang Yi, with 5,000 troops each, are waiting in outer ambushes.
To mop up anyone fleeing the fire.
Or anyone rushing in thinking they're saving the grain.
Yeah.
Surround and destroy. That's phase 1.
Okay, but Kongming knows Sunlight isn't the only threat. He anticipates that Cao Zhen's main army will react to the fire signal, right?
Yes, absolutely. He knows Cao Zhen had already ordered his vanguard commanders. These are Zhang Hu and Lilin, sons of the famous Zhang Liao and Lijin, by the way.
Right, legacy commanders.
To charge Kongming's main camp the moment they saw that massive fire erupt over at the Longxi trap site.
And this is where Kongming pulls off maybe the boldest move, the empty camp strategy.
It's astonishing, really. He completely empties his main headquarters, just leaves it vacant.
That takes nerve, leaving your base undefended.
He's not leaving it undefended, exactly. He's turning the base itself into another trap. Guanxing and Zhang Bao are hidden in ambush right near the main entrance. And further back, Wu Ban and Wu Yi are positioned to cut off the Wei retreat route after they realize the camp is empty.
So he's inviting them into an empty base only to ambush them as they try to leave.
Exactly. A two-pronged attack invited onto, well, nothing, followed by a two-pronged ambush.
Okay, so the battle plays out. How does it go down?
Pretty much exactly as Kongming planned, which is remarkable. Sun Li's forces see the fire, rush towards the decoy carts, maybe to save them, maybe just reacting to the chaos.
And run straight into Ma Dai, setting the fires upwind.
Right into the fire and smoke, and then immediately they're hit by Ma Zhang and Zhang Yi from the flanks. Total chaos, heavy losses. Sun Li's force breaks and flees.
Okay, one prong dealt with. What about the other? Zhang Hu and Lilin.
Simultaneously, they see the huge fire signal from Longxi, follow their orders, and charge Kongming's main camp.
And find nothing.
Just an empty camp. They realize instantly they've been tricked. Panic sets in. They turn around to retreat. Straight into Guanxing and Zhang Bao's ambush. Bingo. Ambushed right at the camp entrance. And the sources say Guanxing and Zhang Bao pressed the attack so hard. Yes, they actually chased them back and captured Zhang Hu and Lilin's own forward supply camp while the fighting was still going on. It was a complete rout.
Wow. So a catastrophic, multi-directional defeat for Wei, sliced up in several places at once.
Total strategic humiliation. Kongming flipped a desperate supply crisis into, an absolute exhibition of tactical brilliance.
But here's the big question then. They've just won this massive victory, routed two Wei forces, captured supplies. Why didn't he press the attack? Why retreat now? He immediately orders a full withdrawal.
Yeah.
Was the supply situation still that bad?
It absolutely was. That's the chilling reality here. Kongming explains it very clearly to his aide, Yang Yi. He says, basically, look, we're still short on food. Yes, we beat them today. But the main Wei armies, the reserves from the Central Plain, they'll send massive reinforcements soon.
And if they get caught on the road back?
If we're caught on the road without supplies during a real determined pursuit, Kongming says, we won't make it home. The victory wasn't the end goal. It was the smokescreen.
So the shock of the defeat was the cover he needed to get out safely.
Exactly. Use the chaos and the blow to weigh morale, to buy the time and space for an orderly withdrawal.
But there's one more piece to this puzzle, isn't there? The retreat path itself isn't totally secure. There's Wang Shuang at Chencang.
Right, Wang Shuang. the aggressive general holding that critical pass. He's the biggest immediate threat to the retreating Shu army. Kongming needs him neutralized, but without getting drawn into another major fight they can't afford.
So another plan. A surgical strike, almost. This involves Wei Yan.
Yes. Wei Yan is given a secret plan. He begins the retreat, drawing Wang Shuang out. And Wang Shuang, being aggressive, takes the bait. He pursues Wei Yan hard for about 20 lines, maybe 7 or 8 miles.
Okay, he's drawn away from his base at Chencang.
And Kongming has anticipated exactly this. While Wang Shuang is deep in pursuit, a tiny, pre-positioned Shu force, just 30 cavalry.
Wait, hang on. 30? Just 30 horsemen?
Just 30. They sneak back and set fire to Wang Shuang's now empty camp near Chencang.
And that's enough. 30 cavalry cause a panic.
Absolutely. Think about it. Wang Shuang sees smoke rising from his own base behind him. He's just heard about the massive defeat Sun Lai and the others suffered. He has no idea how big this new attacking force is. He instantly fears he's been cut off, outflanked again.
The psychological impact.
Exactly. He doesn't hesitate. He orders his pursuing troops to turn back immediately to save their base.
And that moment of turning, that's the trap.
That's the fatal moment. As Wang Shuang turns his horse, Wei Yan, who had vanished into the woods during the pursuit, suddenly bursts out from the tree line, a perfect ambush, kills Wang Shuang with a single strike, just takes him out. The pursuing Wei soldiers see their commander fall, see their base burning. They just scatter. Total panic. They assume a huge Shu ambush is waiting. Wei Yan didn't have to defeat an army, he just had to remove the key defender.
That's surgical is the right word. It secured the entire retreat.
It demonstrates Kongming's mastery, doesn't it? Combined arms, psychological warfare, perfect timing, even while technically retreating. So, Shu scores some points against Wei, shows they're maybe not invincible, and suddenly there's an opening for Wu. Sun Quan had been king of Wu for a while, but his advisors, especially Zhang Zhao, they basically said, look, now's the time. Claim the imperial title. Put yourself on par with Wei.
Exactly. But for something that bold, you need more than just, political consensus. You need legitimacy. So the court conveniently produces these omens. Signs from heaven. First, a phoenix sighted at Wuchang East Mountain. Then reports of a yellow dragon in the Great River. These were framed as heaven basically saying, yes, Sun Quan, your virtue matches the ancient emperor's. Go for it.
And he does. Makes it official. Took the throne, Bingyin Day, 4th month of summer. New dynasty begins. He even changes the era name to Huanglong I, the yellow dragon. Powerful symbol, right? Aimed squarely at legitimizing everything.
Absolutely. And with a new emperor, you get a new court structure. His son, Sun Deng, becomes crown prince. Gu Yong is chancellor. And Lu Sun, probably Wu's best general, he's made general-in-chief. But what's really interesting, I think, is this focus on the next generation and specifically, well, who they pick.
You mean bringing in young Zhuge Ke?
Yes, Zhuge Ke. He's only 6 years old, and he's made left tutor to the crown prince. And you have to remember, Zhuge Ke is the son of Zhuge Jin, who is Zhuge Liang's older brother. So Sun Quan is basically investing in the family line of his main ally, who's also kind of his rival. Strategic move.
And the sources give us these great little stories about why Sun Quan rated this kid so highly. It wasn't just nepotism. The kid was sharp. Like that first story at the banquet, Sun Quan's making fun of Zhu Jian's long face.
He has a donkey brought in, right? And just to be mean, he writes, Zugiziu, that's Jin's courtesy name, on the donkey's face. The whole court's laughing. Jin's super embarrassed. And then little Zhuge Ke, 6 years old, steps up, grabs the chalk, and adds 2 characters underneath. So it now reads, Zugiziu's donkey.
Boom. Just like that. Turns the joke right back around. Shows incredible wit, really. Sun Quan was apparently so impressed he just gave the donkey to the kid. But the second story, that one really shows his strategic thinking, even as a child.
It really does. So later, Kay's serving wine. He goes up to Zhang Zhao, who's super powerful minister. Zhang Zhao refuses the wine, gets all sniffy, says, oh, this isn't proper for an old man like me. And Zhuge just jumps on it. He asks Zhang Zhao essentially, why are you claiming age stops you drinking when Jiang Shang was fighting battles at 90?
Ooh. And then the killer line.
Yeah, then the punchline, he basically says Zhang Zhao might be behind on the battlefield, but he's always first at the drinking table. Zhang Zhao is just stunned, speechless, humiliated, basically. He has to drink. And Sun Quan sees all this sort of fearless intellect and thinks, okay, this kid's going places.
So you've got a new emperor, a court buzzing with new appointments, and even grooming kids like Zhuge Ke for future leadership. Wu is finally ready to make its next big play on the diplomatic stage. All right, let's shift from the celebrations into the well, the very tricky talks with Shu.
Right. Zhang Zhao, always the pragmatist, his initial advice was consolidate first, build schools, make peace internally, then think about war. And crucially, he advised sending envoys to Shu, propose a formal alliance to carve up Wei's territory together.
But Shu? Well, you can imagine their reaction. They saw themselves as restoring the Han dynasty. And now Sun Quan, their supposed ally, just crowns himself emperor. A lot of officials in Shu were furious. They wanted to ditch the alliance immediately. He's just another usurper, right?
Exactly. It took Jiang Wan to kind of calm everyone down. He said, look, we have to ask Kongming, Zhuge and Kongming's response. Just classic Kongming. Diplomacy, but rooted in fear.
Okay, let's zoom in there. Kongming tells his envoy, Chencang, go to Wu, take all these amazing gifts, gold, pearls, jade, horses, congratulate Sun Quan. But the real point is, demand that Lu Xun attacks Wei. Now, why that demand? Why was Kongming sure that asking for that would actually reveal Wu's true game instead of, getting them to actually attack?
Because Kongming's number one fear, strategically, is Sima Yi. He knows Sima Yi is the only Wei commander who can really stop his northern campaigns. So he structures the demand knowing how Lu Xun will probably react by making Wu look like they're about to launch a major offensive. He calculates that this will force Sima Yi to pull troops south to defend Wei's heartland.
Okay. Leaving the northwest, around Qishan and Chengyan, weaker, vulnerable for Shu's own attack.
Precisely. Wu becomes a strategic distraction, a sort of human shield, orchestrated by Kongming.
But Lu Xun, the Wu general on the other end, he's no fool. He sees right through it.
Immediately, yeah. He analyzes Kongming's motive, understands it comes from that deep fear of Sima Yi. So Lu Xun thinks, okay, I see your game. He agrees to pretend to attack. Wu will mobilize, run drills, make a huge show of preparing for war. But Lu Xun's actual plan, sit back, let Shu and Wei fight. And then, as the source says, seize the Central Plains when the situation is advantageous.
Wow, so it's an alliance built entirely on mutual deception. Each side trying to manipulate the other.
Pretty much the definition of Three Kingdoms diplomacy right there.
Okay, so while this diplomatic shadowboxing is happening between Wu and Shu, Kongming isn't just waiting around. He's already making his move in the west. He gets intel that Hao Zhao, the Wei commander defending the key city of Chencang, is seriously ill. Gravely ill.
Yeah, this is Kongming seizing the moment. The diplomatic game's bought him a window, and now he acts. And the way he does it, it's another layer of deception, aimed at keeping his own commanders steady while totally blindsiding the enemy.
Right. He publicly tells his main generals, Wei Yan and Jiang Wei, okay, we attack Chencang in 3 days. Sets that expectation.
But that's just for show. The real move is immediate and secret. He tells Guanxing and Zhang Bao, two other commanders, stage a troop review. But really, they're to make a forced march straight to Chencang, with Kongming himself hidden amongst their troops. It's so fast, so sudden, Wei has no time to send reinforcements, no time to even process what's happening.
And the city falls. Almost without a fight, really. Spies inside start fires, chaos erupts, the alarm goes up, and Hao Zhao already dying. The source says he dies basically from the shock and terror of hearing that alarm. I mean, that says something about Kongming's reputation, doesn't it? Just the sound of his arrival is fatal.
It does. Shu takes the city incredibly easily. Kongming's own words on it were simple. Out of the unexpected, attack the unprepared. A perfect execution. And then, showing that sort of characteristic respect for a loyal enemy, he has Hao Zhao's coffin and family sent back to Wei territory.
And he doesn't stop there. The follow-up is instant. Got to consolidate the games. He orders Wei Yan and Jiang Wei to immediately take Sangwon Has, another key position. He figures, correctly, the guards there will either flee or be too disorganized to resist after Chencang fell.
And they get there just in time. The Wei General Zhang, he is approaching with reinforcements, but the pass is already secured by Shu. Zhang, he has no choice but to retreat. Shu's gains in the north are solidified.
Okay, so Kongming's plan is working beautifully in the west. But now imagine you're Emperor Cao Rui in Luoyang, the Wei capital. You get these reports basically all at once. It must have been terrifying. First, Chencang lost, Hao Zhao dead, Sangwon Pass lost, Kongming is back at Qishan again, and then bam, the second report. Sun Quan has declared himself emperor and Lu Xun is mobilizing a massive army on your southern border.
Yeah, absolute panic mode, an existential crisis for Wei. And their main commander, Cao Zhen, is too sick to lead. So really, there's only one choice. It has to be Sima Yi. And Sima Yi's genius here isn't just tactics, it's his incredible strategic clarity. He looks at this absolute chaos and instantly sees the real threat.
How does he dismiss the Wu threat so quickly, though? I mean, from the outside, it looks like a guaranteed two-front war.
Because Sima Yi understands the players and their motivations. He knows Lu Xun. He knows the history. He states, basically definitively, Lu Xun will not launch a full-scale invasion. He just won't. He correctly figures that Kongming, despite this temporary alliance, still wants revenge for Wu's earlier betrayal at Yiling, that huge defeat for Shu.
Ah, so the alliance is purely convenient, temporary.
Exactly. Sima Yi sees Kongming is using Wu to pressure Wei. And Wu is using the threat of attacking Wei to keep them occupied while Shu makes its move. He knows Lu Xun is playing a psychological game, a delaying tactic. Lu Xun isn't going to commit his main forces to a long, costly war up north while Shu is getting stronger in the west. So Sima Yi's conclusion is sharp and clear. The real danger, the long-term threat, is Shu. It's Zhuge Liang. Wei has to focus everything on him.
And the source captures that moment, the handover of command. Sima Yi goes to Cao Zhen's sickbed. Cao Zhen is fading, but he basically pleads with Sima Yi to take the Grand Commander's seal. He says, if you don't take this, China is in danger.
A very dramatic scene. Sima Yi accepts. He knows what needs to be done. He immediately heads for Changyin, ready to face Kongming directly.